Hey there, Mr. Holcomb here with another lesson in pre-algebra. This is Unit 4, Lesson 18, Session 1, and it's solving multi-step equations. So we're going to write multi-step equations to represent problems and solve them. Compare different ways of solving equations. So here we go. Try it. Make sense of the problem. Adela, Rachel, and Santo take pictures at a Purim celebration. Okay, that's a Jewish holiday. Adela takes 7 more pictures than Rachel. So the first thing I'm going to do is say, R, might help if I had my pen, let, why is that doing that? Let R equal number of photos Rachel took. Okay, we have to identify our variables. We're going to let S equal number of photos Santo took. Okay. And then who else is there? Adele. So we're going to let A equal number of photos Adela took. Okay.
Here's my spoilers word.
Okay, so we have Adela take 7 more pictures than Rachel. Well, let's see. That would be A equals, okay, Adela's number of photos she took. Adela takes 7 more pictures than Rachel. So A equals 7. More than means add. And when you see the word more than, less than, greater than, all that, you have to work backwards. So it's going to be R for Rachel right here, plus 7. So Adela equals R plus 7. That's one equation. Then it says Santo takes 4 times as many pictures as Adela. So Santo equals 4 times as many pictures as Adela, which would be 4A. So there are our 2 equations. Okay. And then it says Santo takes 48 pictures. So then they also say S equals 48. So now I'm going to look at this equation and work my way backwards, because if S is 48, I can substitute it in right here and say 48 equals 4A, because S was Santos and Santos took 48 pictures, so I can substitute that 48 in for S. Now if I divide both sides by 4, I'm going to get Adela equals 12. So Adela took 12 photos. And then I can take this 12 and substitute it into this equation. So I'm going to move this over here. Let's go over here further. So if I have A equals R plus 7, and I know A is 12, then I put 12 in for A, and I get 12 equals R plus 7. To get R by itself, we need to subtract 7 from both sides, and I get R equals 5. So R is the number of photos Rachel took. How many pictures does Rachel take? Rachel took 5 pictures. Okay, so this was a multi-step substitution problem. Next problem. Okay, I already answered that. How many pictures do Adela and Rachel each take? Okay, so if I now go back here, Rachel, we already know, took 5. Adela took how many Rachel took plus 7, or it's right here, A equals 12. We've already answered all these questions. So R was 5, A was 12, and Santos was 48. So look back, how many pictures do Adela and Rachel each take? Rachel took 5, Adela took 12. Santos took 48. How do we know? Because Adela times 4 was Santos. Santos took 4 times Adela. So 12 times 4 is 48, and that's how we got started on this. So those were the photos that everybody took. The one question didn't ask was how many photos were taken at this party, and it would be 15 carry the 1, and it would be 65 photos in total. Okay, so I'm not going to do this page. It's kind of explained in the book, and So this is just comparing arithmetic approach to algebraic. I'm going to skip that. And let's just move on to the closing. This was a real quick lesson, and let's do the reflective. Okay, and that is related to the arithmetic versus algebraic. So I'm just going to stop here. So I just did a couple of examples on substitution and solving. Okay, so this is Unit 4, Lesson 18, Session 2. Session 1 was really quick. There wasn't really a whole lot in there, but now we're going to go into the developing part. We're writing and solving equations with 2 or more addends. So here goes. So this one says, Noah designs a set for a school theater production. He has 150 cardboard bricks. He uses some bricks to make a chimney. So he's going to make a chimney. He's going to make an arch. He needs to use 4 times as many bricks he used for the chimney to make that arch. Okay, so 4 times as many bricks as he uses for the chimney. He also saves 15 bricks in case some get crushed. So he's going to have a surplus of 15. So how many cardboard bricks can he use to make the arch? All right, so our total is 150. So how I'm going to start this is I'm going to write the total on the right-hand side like so. So we know he has 150 bricks. We also know he has 15 surplus. And then he's going to use so many bricks for the chimney. So I'm going to put, actually, let's do a table off to the side so this is more understandable. So we have a chimney. Okay, we have an arch. And we have extras or surplus. We already know he has 15 extras. Okay. He uses some bricks to make a chimney, so we could use B for brick. He uses some bricks to use a chimney, 4 times as many bricks. To make the arch, he needs to use 4 times as many bricks as he uses for the chimney. So if he uses B bricks for the chimney, he's going to use 4 times as many bricks for the arch, 4 times B. Okay, so that's what my equation is going to look like. It's going to be bricks for the chimney plus 4 times as many bricks for the arch plus the 15 surplus have to equal 150. So there's our equation. And so now I'm going to look at GEMDAS. Okay, GEMDAS is order of operations and simplifying expressions. And we have addition. We can add B and 4B, which would give us 5B plus 15 equals 150. And that was the only step, so that's done. And now we would write SAD MEG. That's the order of operations when we're crossing an equal sign and we use our inverses, okay? So what do we have here? We have 5 times B, which is multiplication, and we have plus 15, which is addition. The inverse of addition is subtraction. The inverse of multiplication is division, and we do order of operations inverses to cross equal signs. So in class the other day, I drew a line through the equal sign, okay, like so. And I do think that that was helpful for students who are new to solving equations vertically. So just keep that equal sign right here, and you can see how to cross that line that we drew. You have to do inverse operations, okay? So we're going to do subtraction first. That means we're going to subtract 15. And if we subtract 15 on the left side of this line, we need to subtract 15 on the other, or we're no longer an equation that's equal. Positive 15 minus 15 is a 0 pair. They cancel, leaving us with 5B. 150 minus 15 equals 135. Don't forget your equal sign keeps coming down. So now we have 5B equals 135. Now we're going to switch to division to get rid of this multiplication. And what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. The 5's cancel, and I'm left with B, which equals 13, 5 goes into 13 2 times with a remainder of 3. 5 goes into 35 7 times. Okay. So he used 27 bricks for the chimney. That's what that means. And then if I take 27 times 4, I get 28. And 4 times 2 is 8 plus 2 is 10. He used 108 bricks for the arch. And 108 plus 27 is 135 plus 15 is this 150. So to answer this question, it's right here. Okay. He used, if this is a sentence, that should be a capital H. He used 108 bricks for the arch. Okay. There we go. To model it, you can draw a bar model to make sense of the problem. Let X represent the number of bricks in the chimney. I use B for bricks. The total on this bar is 150. We have X, and then we have 4X, the chimney, the arch, 4 times X, and then we have the 15 surplus. So doing this model here, you get X plus 4X plus 15 equals 150, 5X plus 15 equals 150, and then you'd subtract 15 from both sides and get 5X equals 135, and divide both sides by 5 and get X equals 27. Okay, so that's how we did it. Apply it. Solve negative 21. I always like to rewrite this. Negative 21 equals negative 1/4 y plus 6. I can't do anything here, so PEMDAS or GEMDAS does not come into play. I will write SADMAG over here because we are going to cross an equal sign. I'm going to draw a line segment. Okay. Like so. So that I know that whenever I cross an equal sign, I have to do inverse operations. So we have addition here. We have addition, that is plus 6. We have a negative 1/4 times y. So we do have multiplication. However, that may change. I'll explain that in a minute. Let's get rid of the addition first by subtracting. So we're going to subtract 6 from both sides. Okay. 6 minus 6 is 0. That's a 0 pair. They cancel. And we're left with equals negative 1/4 y. And negative 21 minus 6 is negative 27. Be careful with your direction. You're going left 21 to get to negative 21. You're going left 6 more to get to negative 27. Okay, so now I have this on both sides. So when you have multiplication, you divide. So if I divide by 1/4 and then I'm like, wait a minute, I can't divide a fraction by a fraction. I have to do what all the students know, keep, change, flip. So you keep the 1/4, which is right here. You change it to multiplication and you multiply by the flipped negative 1/4 becomes negative 4/1. What you do to one side, you must do to the other. So I'm multiplying both sides by negative 4. So the negative 1/4 times negative 4 is positive. Negative times negative is positive, and it's 1y, or just simply y. Positive times a, or negative times a negative is positive. 7 times 4 is 28. Carry the 2. 4 times 2 is 8 plus 2 is 10. Y equals 108. I then could check my solution. Okay, a lot of times students do this, and then they come up to me and say, Mr. Holcomb, is my answer right? Is this right? Is this right? Is this right? Well, you tell me. You take the negative 21, you put equals negative 1/4, you put your answer in place of the variable y plus 6, and you solve this. And if you get negative 21 equals negative 21, then you did it correctly. To solve this, I'd have to subtract 6. And I'd get negative 27 equals negative 1/4 times 108. Okay. And then when we multiply both sides by negative 4, we get 108 equals 108. Okay. Oops, I didn't do that right. Let's go back. We want to leave that negative 21 here. Why am I solving that? We're checking to see if negative 21 is equal over here. So what I have to do here, my apologies, negative 1/4 times 108 is a negative 27, and then you get plus 6. And then negative 21 comes down, and negative 27 plus 6 is negative 21. That is how you check. Okay, next problem. A rectangular garden sits next to a house. So let me get a house. This is what I did in class, so just give me a second. Okay, so I drew this diagram. It's always a good idea to draw a picture of something. A rectangular garden sits next to a house. There it is. There's your rectangular garden sitting next to this house. There is fencing on 3 sides of the garden. Obviously, you don't need a fence if it's up against the house, right? Your last side is the width of the house. There is a total of 21.5 meters. There's our first indicator of information. We have 21.5 meters of fencing, which goes from here to here to here to here. Okay, it's perimeter, but it's only 3 sides of that perimeter. The length of the garden along the house is 9 meters. Okay, there's our other piece of information that we need to highlight. So 9 meters, the length of the garden along the house is 9 meters. Okay, so I'm going to put a 9M right there. That's from here to here. Well, this is a rectangle, so what I can do is move this over to here. It's the same length, isn't it? So that's 9 meters over there. Continue reading. Which equation can be used to find the width W? So there's the width W. Well, what do we know about rectangles? Their opposite sides are equal or congruent. So that's also a length of W. So there is our 3 sides, and we know they add up to 21.5. So you'd say W plus 9 equals 21.5. There's our equation to find the length of this. Combine like terms using GEMDAS, and I get 2W plus 9 equals 21.25. Okay, and there is our answer right there. But let's find the width. Let's continue. So now I'm going to use SADMEG. I have addition and multiplication. I'm going to subtract first, minus 9. Careful with your decimal, don't forget. 5 minus 0 is 5, 2 minus 0 is 2, 21 minus 9 is 12, equals 2W. Okay, divide both sides by 2, and I get W equals 2 goes into 12 6 times, 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 5 twice, with a remainder, and it's 6.125. Whoops, I made another mistake. Wow, look at me. I just sat there wondering what was going on. I went from 1.5 to 0.25. All right, this is 0.50. So this is 0.50. That's why we do math and pencil. Please fix this. So it's 12.5 divided by 2. Let me just fix that. And that is 6.25, not 6.125. Okay, so this is 6¼ meters by 9 by 6¼ Okay, so this is actually not the correct diagram. The diagram should only come out to about here like this. It's a smaller garden where this is 9 and this is shorter at 6.25. Okay. All right, closing exit ticket. Pause the video, see if you can do this. Come back, check your answer. Number 10, the total cost of a sketch pad and 6 pencils. So sketch pad and 6 pencils is 22.53. So there's our equation. Just coming from that first sentence, 1 sketch pad plus 6 pencils equals 22.53. Then it says the sketch pad is $9.99. So I'm going to substitute that in. 9.99 replaces S plus 6P equals 22.53. Each pencil costs the same. So that's why we can use the variable P. How much does each pencil cost? So we have addition and multiplication. So we're going to subtract and divide. 9.99 minus 9.99. Let me draw my line here real quick. And we get a 0 pair and a 6P equals. This we need to do some borrowing. 4, 2 to 1, 14 minus 9 is 5, put a decimal. 2 to 1, 11 minus 9 is 2, bring down your 1. So 6p equals 12.54. That's how much 6 pencils cost, $12.54. We need to divide by 6 to see how much each pencil is. So it's going to be p equals 6 goes into 12 two times, so it's over $2. 6 will not go into 5, so that's 0. And 6 goes into 54 9 times. So the pencils cost $2.09 each. Okay, hopefully you got that. And thanks for watching and have a great day. Hi there, Mr. Holcomb here with another lesson in pre-algebra. This is Unit 4, Lesson 18, Session 3. Did you get all that? Writing and solving equations with grouping symbols, Part 3. Here goes. So, make sense of the problem. Hugo travels in Toronto, Canada. His weather app shows that the temperature is 25 degrees Celsius, and he thinks to himself, brr, that's freezing. Literally, it's below 32. Hold that thought. Celsius is not the same as Fahrenheit. Hugo writes the equation. I'm going to write this. Hugo writes the equation 25 equals, why is it doing that? 5 over 9, parentheses, F minus 32. Okay. To find the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit, what is the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit? We have to find it. F. In other words, we want to get this variable by itself. It's called solve for the variable or isolate the variable. Okay, now here's what happens. If I do not do GEMDAS first, I cannot do SADMAG second. So a lot of teachers might think, well, that doesn't always work. Order of operations is not always correct, but actually it is. SADMAG, if I were to just look at this and say, okay, there's nothing I can simplify on the right here, and I'm just going to jump right into SADMAG. Don't write this, just watch. I'm going to say I have subtraction and I have multiplication. So I'm going to add and then I'm going to divide. And if I do it in that order, I'm adding 32 to both sides, but 32 is in this parentheses, and that is an error. We will not get the right answer. But then it would be like, well, Mr. Holcomb, I thought you told me that if we did order of operations, we'll get the right answer. However, if you do not do GEMDAS first, in other words, simplify the right side, here's what you have to do. You have to multiply 5/9 to both. So this, I'm not going to do it this way. I'm going to show you, but then erase it. So just watch for now. 5/9 times F would be 5 over 9F. And 5 times 32 is 5 times 2 is 10, 15, 160 over 9. So it'd be 5/9 F minus 160 over 9. Now that this is simplified, I'd add 160 over 9 to 25 and then get rid of this 5/9. However, there's a much easier way to do this than to do GEMDAS, then SADMAG. If you have a number outside of a parentheses, and that's all there is, and you're trying to get to that, it's almost like peeling an onion. You want to take one layer off to get to the center. I want to multiply both sides by this 5/9, and then you might be thinking, well, that's multiplication, so you want to divide. Well, if I divide by 5/9 and then I realize that rule says that you can't divide a fraction by a fraction, you have to keep, change, flip. I'm going to keep the 5/9, change it to multiplication, and flip the 5/9 to 9/5. So I'm going to multiply both sides of my equation by 9/5. 5 and the 5 cancel, and the 9 and the 9 cancel, leaving us with F minus 32. This 5 will go into 25 5 times, and 9 times 5 is 45. So that was a lot easier calculation than it would be if I did the distributive property and got all these strange fractions. Okay, this made it much easier, got rid of the fractions, and now I'm on to my addition step, which means add 32 to both sides. And when I do that, I'm going to get my Fahrenheit temperature of 77 degrees. Okay, so 25 degrees Celsius sounds cold because we're familiarized ourselves with temperatures in Fahrenheit. 25 Fahrenheit is literally freezing. It's 7 degrees below 32. But in this case, it's a really nice, mild summer day, 77 degrees. Okay, next problem. Whoops, cancel, redo, next. Okay, so we answered that. I can skip this screen. Now it says Carolina fosters 5 puppies. Highlight, stop. Don't read too fast and too far into a problem. You're just going to be reading it over and over without getting any understanding. So Carolina is going to foster 5 puppies. For each puppy, she buys a crate that costs $C and a leash that costs $20. Total amount spent was $475. So if every dog is going to get a crate and a collar, I can do this. Every puppy's going to get a crate and a $20 collar. We know the collar's 20, or a leash, I'm sorry. Crate and a leash. We don't know the price of the crate. We know the leash is $20, so we can put it in here. And all actuality, I could write C plus L for every dog, and there are 5 dogs or 5 puppies, and I spent $475. So this could be our equation. 5 dogs, each getting a crate and a leash, and I'm going to spend $475. But then I know my leashes are $20. So now we have 5 times this crate plus $20 leash still equals $475. Okay, so that is right here. But if I distribute, I get 5C plus 100 equals $475. So it says select all the correct answers. So if I did do the distributive property, I also get C. All right. I'm now going to subtract 100 from both sides. I want to find out how much these crates cost. So I'm going to get 5 crates is going to cost me $375 because I spent $100 on the 5 leashes. Make sense? 100 times 20 is 5, or yeah. 5 times 20 is 100. Okay, so $100 went towards leashes and the remainder went towards crates. So if I divide by 5, I find out how much 1 crate costs. And 5 goes into 37 7 times with a remainder of 2. And 5 goes into 25 5 times. So they didn't ask, but the crates were $75 each. Number 8, solve this. -8 equals, I'm going to change the color of this variable for a reason here. I'm going to show something to you. -4 minus 6 down below. So notice I wrote the K in blue. That's because I want to know what it is. When it says solve this, it means find the value of K. Isolate the variable. How do I get K out of this combination? Okay, it's with a -4, it's with a -6. If I write SADMEG, because I cannot simplify this, so I jump to SADMEG and I answer my questions. This is division, that's here. Opposite of division is multiplication. And this is subtraction. The opposite's addition. However, again, you don't do the addition first. Why? Because grouping trumps everything. We have a group. This that's in the numerator is a group. I've got to get that group by itself before I can do it. It's like peeling the onion again. I've got to get rid of this -6 first. And we're dividing by -6, so I'm going to multiply both sides by -6. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Think of it as peeling an onion. -6 divided by -6 is 1. Here's my line, by the way. And these cancel, and I'm left with K minus 4 and an equal sign. Don't forget that equal sign right here. And negative times a negative is positive. 6 times 8 is 48. Finally, I am now in the group, or the group gotten is by itself, and now I have subtraction, not addition, and I'm going to add. So now I add 4 to both sides. Okay, and K minus 4 plus 4, these are 0 pair, leaving me with K equals 48 plus 4 is 52. So the answer is K equals 52. Now, how do I know it is? Well, I've already done this 3 times in class, but if you take this 52 and plug it in here, you should always check. 52 minus 4 is 48. A positive 48 divided by a negative 6 is a negative 8. It checks. Closing exit ticket. So now we have the perimeter of a rectangular chicken coop. Do you hear that? Are you listening? Perimeter, rectangle. I'm going to draw a rectangle to represent the bottom of this coop. So let's just say it's about that. So picture this rotated and turned and looking at it straight down, and the roof is not there. That is just, they haven't built the coop yet. This is just the bottom floor. Okay, keep going. Highlighter. Let's make it blue. Okay, the chicken coop is 30 feet. The perimeter of the chicken coop is 30 feet. The width is W and the length is W plus 4. Okay, do you hear that? The width is W and the length is W plus 4. They gave that to us in the diagram as well, right here. Okay, but the total length is 30 feet. What are the length and widths of the coop? Show your work. Well, perimeter equals 2 times L plus 2 times, 2 times W. All right, substitute our givens. What's our length? The width is W, the length is W plus 4. W plus 4 replaces the L. Plus 2 times our width, which is W, so that just stays W. I'm going to distribute. Okay, P equals 2W plus 2 times 4 is 8 plus 2W. Now I'm going to substitute in P. I could have done it earlier. It doesn't matter when you do it, but I'm going to need to start moving stuff across the equal sign soon. So I'm going to put 30 in for P, right? Perimeter's 30. And 2W plus 2W is 4W, and then we still have that plus 8. I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides. These cancel because they're a 0 pair, leaving me with 4W, and if I did draw that line, it's right here. Equals 30 minus 8 is 22. Divide both sides by 4, and we get W equals 5.5. So W equals 5.5 feet, comma, L, or length, equals, and the length is W plus 4. Well, 5.5 plus 4 is 9.5 feet. Okay, and that's how you do that. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Hi there, Mr. Holcomb here with another lesson in pre-algebra. I wasn't on page 1, my fault. Oops. Unit 4, lesson 18, session 4. So we're wrapping up lesson 18 here. We're writing and solving multi-step equations. And here we go. So we're going to start by solving this equation as a warm-up, if you will. Pause the video, see if you can do this. And let's assume you did that. So I'm going to do this in the simplest way I can think of. I'm going to get rid of this 2 first. And when I do that, I get 2 times t minus 2 equals 20. Excuse me. Now I could do 2 things here. I can either distribute and simplify the left side, or I can just cut to the chase and get that t minus 2 in the parentheses by itself or isolated. I'm going to divide both sides by 2 at this point, because these 2's will cancel, and then I simply get a t minus 2 equals 20 divided by 2, which is 10. And then to get rid of this minus 2, obviously I have to add 2 to get a 0 pair, and I add 2 over here. These are gone. I get a t equals 10 plus 2 is 12. Hopefully you got that. If you check your answer, 12 minus 2 is 10. 10 times 2 is 20. 20 plus 2 is 22. Example. Look at how you could show your work using multiplication. Here they wanted to get rid of the decimals, and we have 2 decimal places, so you need 2 zeros when you multiply. In other words, if you multiply this by 100, you get that 0.25x to become 25x, 75 becomes 750, and 15 becomes 1,500. So they multiplied both sides by this 100 here. That gets rid of decimals. Really good way to do it. It's not necessary, but it does make it easier. So once I get to this step right here, now they're subtracting 750 on both sides. They're just showing it horizontally instead of vertically like I do. This is a zero pair and leaving us with negative 25x. And this is 750, which is 1500 minus 750. Okay, they did not finish the problem. So now all we need to do is divide both sides by negative 25. So negative 25 divided by negative 25 is a positive 1x. And 25 will go into 750 30 times, but a positive divided by a negative is negative. So the solution is x equals negative 30. All right, number 1, apply it. Solve this. 0 equals negative 1.8y plus 0.72. Okay? Here's what I'm going to do. I don't like negative variables and coefficients. When the coefficient from the variable is negative, we will have to do some calculating, changing. So I like to try to make it positive as quickly as possible. And I need to move it over to the other side. Something's got to move over to the other side. This time I'm going to move the 1.8y. Okay, so if this is my line here and I add 1.8y to both sides, I get 1.8y equals my zero pair goes away and I have 0.72 on the right. Everything is positive now. Great. I don't have to worry about negatives and dividing by a negative 1 or multiplying by a negative 1. Okay. This is multiplication. Do the inverse. Divide by 1.8. Okay. I should be able to go through this fairly quickly now. We've been doing this for a few days. Okay. 1.8 divided by 1.8 is 1y. And here I'll do this off to the side. I'm going to move this decimal over 1, so I'm going to put 18 here, and then I'm going to divide. And I went a little crazy with my line here. Let's just move that out of the way. And I have 0.72. Now I move this decimal place over 1 because we want to divide by an integer, not a decimal. So I have to move this one over 1, so that would be 7.2. 18 will not go into 7, so I put a 0. 18 will go into 72 4 times. And it does become 72, and that becomes 0. No remainder. So the answer is y equals 0.4. And we're done. That's it, 0.4. All right, next problem. Oh, this is a good one. Okay, 2 times the n plus 17 quantity divided by an 8 equals 3 over 8. Many, many ways we could do this. I could reduce this 2 over 8 to 1 over 8 or 4, 1 over 4, multiply both sides by 4, get 12 over 8, and so on, and then subtract 17. But watch what I'm going to explain right here. When you have denominators that are the same, all right? Well, what is equal to 3/8? 3/8 is equal to how many eighths? Hello, it's 3/8, right? So whenever the bottoms are equal, the tops have to be equal. It only makes sense, right? So in other words, if the bottoms are both 8 and the tops have to both be 8, then this top here has to equal, this numerator has to equal this numerator of 3. So then I can just get rid of the denominators when they're the same and say 2 times n plus 17 equals 3. They have to be equal. They both have to equal 3, right? All right, so now I'm going to divide both sides by 2 to get rid of that number outside so I don't have to distribute. N plus 17 equals 3 halves. Okay, and then I subtract 17 from both sides and I get n equals. Now 3 halves is 1.5. And remember the rule, when you are subtracting positives and negatives, you take the absolute value. I'm going to change this to 1.5. That is my 3 halves, right? So I'm going to write that 3 halves equals the absolute value of 1.5. The absolute value of 17 is 17. The absolute value of 1.5 is 1.5, and 17 is 17.0. If I subtract these, I get a 5 and a 5 and a 1. I get 15.5, but then you take the sign of the bigger absolute value, so this is actually negative 15.5. or negative 15 and 1/2. Okay? Hopefully that wasn't too bad for you. Yes, I know kids don't like fractions, decimals, but definitely a huge part of our life. We can't live without them. Number 3, apply it. 3 siblings are born on the same date in consecutive years. Pause, stop, consecutive years. That could mean one is a year old, one is 2 years old, and one is 3 years old. Consecutive means 1, 1, 1, adding 1, adding 1, adding 1, okay? So 1, 2, and 3. Well, 1 plus 2 is 3, and 3 equals 6 if I add these. So obviously it's not 1, 2, and 3. Well, maybe it is 2 and 3 and 4. Well, that's 3. Oops, I put a comma. I meant to put a plus on this line. So these are consecutive numbers, starting with 2, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 11, 6, 7 is consecutive, okay? So 2, 3, 4 is a consecutive number, but that only adds up to 9. Well, what do we want them to add up to? 42. Well, we'd be here quite a while trying to figure out what 3 numbers in a row add up to 42, the consecutive numbers. So in other words, if I changed that first number to an x, and x were 2, and I know the next number is 3, well, that would be x plus what? If x is 2, 2 plus what is 3? It's 1. So there's my second number, plus, well, if x was 2, think about that. X is 2, and I want to add up to 4. What do I have to add to 2 to get to 4? It's 2. So x plus 1 plus x plus 2 are 3 consecutive integers in using a variable. And then we just set it equal to our 42. Now we're going to combine like terms. I have an x, I have an x, I have an x, I have a plus 1, I have a plus 2. So x plus x plus x is 3x. 2 plus 1 is 3, and they equal 42. Okay, so now we have this really simple problem we've been doing over and over and over. Subtract 3, subtract 3, subtract 3. And I get these to cancel, and I get 3x equals 42 minus 3, which is 39. Divide both sides by 3, and x equals 13. Now remember, x is 13. That's right here. The next kid's age is 14, and then the oldest kid is 2 years older, which is 13 plus 2, which is 15. 15 plus 14 is 28, plus 13 is 42. The question says, what is the age of the oldest sibling? Be careful, they will trick you this way. You find x equals 13. That is not always your answer to your problem. That is the age of the youngest sibling. You want the oldest. The answer is C. So then down here it says Victoria chose A as the correct answer. How might she have gotten that answer? Well, she found X and just assumed that was the oldest. Didn't read. If they asked for the youngest, that'd been correct. If they asked for the middle kid, it would have been 14. Okay, just be careful what the question's asking. All right, apply it. Leon paid $12.50 per month for a music subscription service. 1 month, so let me highlight. He paid $12.50 per month for his music subscription. Okay, that does not change. It's $12.50. That's our constant. 1 month, he also buys 6 songs from the service. Each song's the same price, and the total cost he spent was $17.84. So my formula or my equation is going to be 6 times S for songs, and that's multiplication, coefficient variable, plus our monthly fee of $12.50 equals $17.84. There's my equation. 6 songs, don't know how much the songs cost, but I know my subscription's $12.50. Let's subtract our subscription cost out of our total fee that month to get what we paid for 6 songs. 4 minus 0 is 4, 8 minus 5 is 3, 7 minus 2 is 5. We paid $5, or Leon paid $5.34 for his 6 songs. I want to know how much 1 song is. Divide by 6, and we'll get the price of 1 song. These cancel, and the song is 6 will not go into 5, so I put a 0, so it's less than $1. 6 goes into 53, 8 times, that's 48, with a remainder of 5. 6 goes into 54 9 times. So he paid 89 cents. So this is a Scantron bubble sheet, kind of like a standardized test fill out blank thing. And you got to learn how to do this. So my answer is 0.89. Okay, and I'd put it in these boxes like this. And then I go down and I bubble the 0 for this column. I bubble the decimal for this column. I go down and bubble the 8 for this one. And I go all the way to the bottom and bubble 9 for that. So this is what my bubble sheet should look like in answering this problem. Apply it. One side of an isosceles triangle. Well, let's stop right there. I need an isosceles triangle. Isosceles triangle simply means a triangle with two congruent sides. So I'm going to just do this. There's my isosceles triangle. This side is equal to this side. That's what an isosceles triangle is. And it says one side of an isosceles triangle is 2x plus 1 foot long. The other two sides are each 3x minus 1. So this is 3x minus 1. This is 3x minus 1. And the base is 2x plus 1. Okay? All right. So there's the three sides of my isosceles triangle. The perimeter of the triangle is 55 feet. What is the length of each side? So we add all the three sides up. So perimeter of a triangle is S plus S plus S. Our perimeter is 55, so I'm substituting all our givens in. Okay, one side is 3x minus 1, and I'll put parentheses so you see the difference. My next side is also 3x minus 1, and my third side is 2x plus 1. So there are the three sides from here substituted in. Now I'm going to combine like terms, 3x, 3x, 2x, and minus 1, plus 1. Okay, combine like terms, I get 55 equals 3x plus 3x is 6x plus 2x is 8x. Negative 1 plus a negative 1 is negative 2 plus a positive 1 is negative 1. Add 1 to both sides. I get 8x equals 56. Divide both sides by 8, and I get x equals 7. It says, what is the length of each side of the triangle? So now I've got to take and plug in my value, 7 for here, and here, and here. 7 times 3 is 21, minus 1 is 20. So one side is 20 feet. And I'm going to put an X for by 20 feet by 7 times 2 is 14 plus 1 is 15 feet. So we have 20 feet, 20 feet, 15 feet. If you don't like the X, because that's really dimensions and it's not quite the same, let's just put commas. 20 feet, 20 feet, 15 feet. Okay, that's how we do that. Okay, so Khalid starts solving the equation. I'm going to write this. 8.5 minus 1.2y equals 6.7. 6.7. All right, he reaches the equation 1.8 equals 1.2y. How did he get that? Well, I'm going to move the 1.2y to the other side because that's where he's got it, right? You see it, it's on the right. So how did he get it over there? Well, I'm going to add it. 1.2y plus 1.2y. Draw my line, right? There's my equal sign. This is a zero pair, and I'm left with 8.5 equals 1.2y positive, that's a plus 6.7, okay? If there's no sign in front, that's positive, so it's plus. Notice I put it in order, coefficient, variable, constant. That's called standard form. I now want to get this 1.2y by itself because that's what it is here. So if I subtract 6.7 to move that over here, okay, this is a zero pair. I get 1.2y equals, and 8 to 7, to borrow that 1, 15 minus 7 is 8, 7 minus 6 is 1. I have 1.8 equals 1.2y. There is a match right there. What did he do to reach the equation? He added 1.2y to both sides and then subtracted 6.7 from both sides. Okay, we could finish this by dividing both sides by 1.2 and seeing what y equals. Okay, and if I did this long division, it would look like 12 into 18 is 1. Remainder 6, and that's, whoops, bring down a 0, and that would be 1.5. Okay, so y is 1.5. It didn't ask that, but it never hurts to do some more practice. All right, number 7. Maura prepares her pack for a hike. Her empty pack weighs 15/16 of an ounce. Or pound, I mean. 15/16 of a pound. In other words, 15 ounces, because there's 16 ounces in a pound. She adds some water bottles that each weigh 1.8 pounds. So plus 1 1/8 W for water bottle. Okay, we don't know how many. It says she adds some water bottles. Each weigh 1.18. Whenever you see the word each, it means to multiply. Now Maura's pack weighs 6 9/16 pounds. How many bottles of B? So here's what we're going to do. Bottles B. Okay, I'm going to change that now. So I used a W, but when I continued reading, they used B for bottles. So that's just going to change to a B. No big deal. No B deal. All right, so notice what's going on here. We have fractions. I don't like fractions, neither do you, so let's get rid of them. If I multiply everything by 16, these cancel, and I'm left with 15, right? 16 over 1, the 16s cancel, leaving 15. This is going to become, this is the same as 10 over 8. Well, if I cancel this 16 with this 8, 8 goes into 16 twice. 2 times 10 is 20, so that's going to be 20b. Hopefully you followed that. And then we have these 16s canceling. So let's just do this. I haven't made these all improper, so maybe I should do that first because you might be getting confused here. So here's what we have. Let me just write it smaller too. Actually, let's write it smaller. Okay, so whoops, redo and go back. So here we have, let me just write it smaller. 15 over 16 plus 1 1/8 is 9/8. B equals 16 times 6 is 96, plus 9 is 105 over 16. I just wanted to make these all improper first. Okay, now I'm going to multiply both sides by 16, and that will still give me my 15 here, and it will give me my A, let's see, is that 9? 8 times 1 is 8, plus 1 is 9/8 pounds. 9/8 B. This will be 18. I think I had 20 last time. That was not right. 16 divided by 8 is 2. 2 times 9 is 18b equals, these 16s cancel and I get 105. Now look at this equation. Isn't that much easier to deal with? I'm going to subtract 15 from both sides. And I'm going to get 18b equals 85. No, it's not. Just kidding. 90. Okay, these are zero pair. 105 minus 15 is 90. Divide by 18, divide by 18, and we find out how much one bottle weighs. How many bottles she has. So 18 goes into 90. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 5 times. 5 times 8 is 40, carry the 4. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 4 is 9. No remainder. There it is. She has 5 bottles of water in her backpack. Okay. Next. Solve. Show your work. Okay, we have 1/2 plus 1/3 W equals 1/6. I'm going to put parentheses or brackets around this. See that 6? 3 will go into 6. 2 will go into 6. 6 is the greatest common or greatest common factor. So I'm going to multiply all these by 6. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. 6 halves is 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2w equals, the 6's cancel, leaving us with 1. Wow. No fractions. Isn't this great? Subtract 3, 2w equals -2, divide by 2, divide by 2, cancel, w equals -1. Okay, next problem. Close exit ticket, check your work. Do this, pause video, come back, see how you did. Here we go. Adita says the equations 0.8x minus 1, 0 again, 0.8 equals 1.6, and 4/5 x minus 1 equals 1 3/5 have the same solution. How can she show this without solving? Well, 5 times 1 is 5 plus 3 is 8/5. That's 8 over 5, which is 1 3/5. Okay. This is 1 6/10, which is also 1 3/5. So these are equal. So 1.6 and 1 3/5 are both equal. They're 1.6. So how can we do it? Well, if two things are equal to the same solution total, they're equal to each other. So I could do this. I could say 0.8x minus 0.8 equals 4 over 5 times x minus 1. So what did I do? I set this equal to this because they're both equal to 1.6. Okay. So then if I distribute, I get 0.8x minus 0.8 equals 4/5, which is 0.8. Let me just change that right here to decimals because they're all decimals. So this is 0.8x minus 0.8 because 0.8 times 1 is 0.8. And since I have a minus 0.8 and I add 0.8 to both sides, I'm going to get 0.8x equals 0.8x, right? Divide by 0.8, divide by 0.8, I get x equals x. No matter what I plug in for x, these two equations have to be true. Okay, they're equal. And that's how you do it. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.